Okay. Hi, everyone. Glad to see you guys, and thank you for joining us this working day. I'm Daria, co-founder of Sellscreen, and today they actually have a very special, interesting guest and co-host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. How are you doing?
Hello, Daria. Hello, everyone. I'm good, thank you. How are you? How's your day so far?
Yes, it's all good. It's not that hot here in Dubai right now, so it's actually busy, but still doable.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to introduce yourself because I think yourself you can introduce you better than anyone else. So can you please introduce yourself, and maybe I will add a few couple of words.
Sure, definitely. First of all, thank you for having me here, and hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be speaking to all the attendees today. My name is Rayan, and I'm the founder of Shortages. Shortages is one of the UAE's first e-commerce focused fulfillment centers. And what that means is essentially we love to act as the boots on the ground for a lot of e-commerce companies to help them launch their operations and their fulfillment from the UAE to the rest of the GCC. So at our core, we are very much focused on operations, on warehousing, on picking, packing, and delivery. But we do see ourselves as a bit more than that in the sense where we act as enablers for e-commerce companies that are looking to enter the GCC market. And the way we do that is by providing as much support as we can on the import side, on the product registration side, and even on different types of fulfillment, such as direct to consumer fulfillment in instances where a customer, for example, has orders from their website, but also more on the fulfilled by merchant or marketplace fulfillment models, where we can also support on preparing inventory and sending inventory to different marketplaces for them to be sold through those different channels.
Wow, great. Yes, and I think you one of those companies who has really experience in the field and who existing clients base and been a while for a while, and also I can see a very good response from the colleagues from the market about you, like many partners saying that you're one of the most reliable partner.
Thank you. Actually, we've been in the market for a bit more than 3 years now. We've supported over 100 different brands in their fulfillment requirements, and through those brands, we've been able to learn a lot about what is really required to launch an operation here. So it has given us the expertise to advise and try to help e-commerce companies in as any way we can.
Yeah, great. By the way, we are so slow in protecting ourselves because, like we still need people join, but we also don't want to, like people who already joined to wait. So that's why we're going to be like a bit on slow mode, but then they're going to add up speed. So about me, I'm very new for the market. We've been here since August. So basically it's like around 6 months, but I have many years working in e-commerce. And we as a company, Sellematics, we started actually in China. We launched their product for merchants. Then COVID hit, we decided, okay, they need to go to enterprise level. So the previous few years, we were focused on enterprise. And our clients are basically big FMCG and apparel and electronics brands. And there recently we realized that the amount of all of these markets around the globe. MENA market is one on the most underestimated, but market which has great potential in terms of growth, especially during the recession time. And also what we see here is not much competition, not only for service providers, but also for sellers. So that's why they bet on this market a lot. And today we're gonna touch the topic which actually are relevant to those who already sell on marketplaces, but wanna maybe extend their matrix or wanna to better calculate the unit economy. Or it could be interesting who just, like starting to look at the market and want to understand what's their actual structure of cost and what could be potentially interesting in terms of product search. So we as Sellscreen or Sellematics, so difference between them that Sellscreen is more corporate enterprise solution and Sellscreen is SMB solution for smaller clients. So we position ourselves as analytics tool and also productivity tool. So we help our clients to understand what to sell and also how to sell. What to sell is basically product search, which is very important, no matter on what stage you are, because like as much good products, best-selling products you have on the marketplace, it's actually the effect on your revenue. So you can find new best-selling products using our tool. You can validate your product success, would it be successful or not, or you can create better products and better content looking onto your competitors. So usually we start with the thought, what is your business about? What is your product you're looking for? Is it the trending products? Trending products is those products which growing, they have like big growth, but unfortunately there's like certain period of time when it's trend. You may see there's a lot of anti-stress toys, such pop it, and different toys could be trending products and generate a good amount of revenue. But the issue, you never know. You can know when the growth is ending using our tool, but yeah, it's hard to predict. Second is seasonal products. Seasonal products, it's good for this actually area because they don't have much change of the season, but still especially for some type of products, for example apparel for babies, is you still can see very very big difference between different collections, like winter and summer still exist. And there are also basic products. Everyone want to sell them, basically the products we use on a daily basis, but of course there are more competition in this kind of products.
And I think in terms of seasons, we have an outdoor season and a non-outdoor season.
Yeah, exactly.
It's those two seasons. It's either you can go out or you can't. And that's where you have outdoor products working well during the outdoors, and then indoor products working well during the indoor season.
Yes. But I mean, some of the products, for example, very sensitive baby products, you still see so many requirements and so many different tricky parts, in terms of planning the assortment.
And this is great because we've spoken about this before, and there hasn't really been a lot of available data for this region. So it's pretty great that Sellscreen is bringing in that data, especially for the UAE, for KSA, where Amazon is relatively recent and new, and providing people with the ability to find that data is pretty useful for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's true. The second thing, what we suggest to understand what the risk are and what the cost structure is. First is actually important thing it's make decision on, like basically choose category you're in, and also make sure that you can get all required documents and licenses on time. And I guess on that, Ryan can comment because, like you have big experience in terms of custom clearance and so on. So what kind of categories usually are required, those documents, and what's the procedure, how long it takes, and how much it costs?
Yeah, definitely. I think getting a license is one thing which is quite important when people are looking to really grow and scale their business here. If someone is looking for purely an e-commerce operation, there are a lot of good e-commerce licenses out there. And there are a couple of things to be on the lookout when you are applying for those licenses. The first and most important thing is asking whether the authority which is issuing this license, whether or not they will provide you with an importer code, which is essentially a code that allows sellers to bring their products into the mainland or into mainland UAE, because for those who don't know, the UAE is split between free zone and mainland. Mainland companies typically are able to get an importer code, especially if you're registering through Dubai DED with either some trading activities. But alternatively, there are free zone options which are cheaper than the mainland options. And some of them, I wouldn't say all, would give you an importer code. You just have to double check with that authority. So my recommendation here for quite efficient and quick licenses would be free zone e-commerce licenses that have the ability to issue an importer code. And one of which I see quite frequently is the Shams or Sharjah Media City free zone license with an e-commerce activity. It could take, honestly, around 2 to 3 months to get the license. And then it does take 3 more months to open up a bank account, even if the banks tell you it's going to take a week or two. It's really not the case. It is quite lengthy to open a corporate bank account that's linked to your company here. But nonetheless, it's part of the process. And the license itself, last I checked, for example, the Sharjah Shams license was around 10,500 dirhams if you're not looking to get any visas associated with that license. Obviously, the more visas you need, that cost begins to increase quite a lot due to the different cost bracket that would fall under.
Okay, great. And what about, like, for example, if you choose to deal with baby products category, do you need any other requirement, like any kind of documents you need to apply for?
So it depends what type of baby products. What we usually see require registration are health, beauty, food, and beverage. So anything that is consumed or put in contact with the skin or applied on the body would require a registration with Dubai municipality prior to importing these products. Otherwise, if you try to import the products, customs will hold them and ask for the registration certificates, especially if you're importing in bulk. So there are these different categories. There are other categories as well, like detergents, which do require some form of registration. Food packaging material as well requires some form of registration. But typically in e-commerce, what we see requiring registration is health, beauty, food, and beverage. So if you have a certain baby stroller or baby pillow, stuff like that will not require registration because they fall under, they do not fall under that category. But if you have a baby formula, then that would fall under that category.
If it's baby toys or baby, I don't know, baby plates, baby cutlery.
For e-commerce, it doesn't require registration.
Okay, got it. And what's the procedure for the registration and how much it usually cost?
The procedure usually for registration requires submitting a lot of documents like the certificate of analysis, an ingredient list, free sales certificate from the country of origin, from the manufacturer certifying that you are actually permitted to sell this product in the country of origin, and the labeling as well. And what the municipality will look for, depending on the category, of course, is does this product include any banned ingredients or banned substances? Is this product making any medical claims? For example, we face a lot of pushback from the municipality on some creams which would make a medical claim, and the municipality would be like, you can't say that. You can't give a medical claim to a product. You could say could potentially help with weight loss, but you cannot say reduces fat as an example, because reduces fat is a medical claim, whereas potentially restricts appetite or whatever is not really a medical claim.
Wow, okay, great, interesting.
And the process, I would say, would take, depends how fast you can collect the documents, but once the documents are collected, then there is around 1 month back and forth with the municipality to make amendments, to make changes, to resubmit and all of that. The cost comes mostly from the agencies you use to register the products. For example, when we register products on behalf of some of our clients, we charge 200 dirhams per SKU. I believe agencies normally charge 500 dirhams per SKU registered. So it just depends on the agency you're working with.
Got it. Interesting. Great. The next thing, I guess, what is interesting is actually calculate the unit economy. And then after all of this analysis, basically you will understand, like, should you choose this product or not? Like, does it worth that thing? And calculating of unit economy also comes with a lot of calculating of logistics and delivery, etc. Yeah. So let us what Elsa that this is like what we help to do is understand from a marketing perspective, is it worth to go to that kind of products? So in Sellscreen, we have a few for this region. We have a few marketplaces and retailers. They also have additionally quick delivery like Talibat and Nana for Saudi market. But for like small businesses, it's usually Amazon UAE, Noon UAE, Noon Saudi, and Shopify. For Shopify, I would say we just collecting the top stores, so you can see at the product and you can have some idea into some kind of content arbitrage, I would say. But for Noon UAE, it's more like understanding the market UAE, because the marketplaces, basically you can count on those two. This is the main marketplaces, and all the other marketplaces which are supposed to be marketplace like Mamsport or Namshi, it's actually very, very different story in terms of operating and like dealing with those players. So, and the most market share, of course, belongs also to Noon and Amazon. But what interesting is for Noon and Amazon, they aggregate no more than like around 20% of e-commerce market. So rest is still belongs to online retailers, and Elsa belongs to own stores of private labels. So if you are a private label, you probably need to also consider to go to and start your own website. So what's our approaches? Usually we get all the data on daily basis. So here we can see, for example, and Amazon, we can see 16 million products. based in UAE, right? Actually, a customer can see on the marketplace 100,000 products, but not all the products are sold from UAE. Some of the products sold by cross-border, and we don't really they don't really collect this data because it's makes the data is not that clear in terms of what's going on in the local market. And in the local market, let's check Noon. Here's like 4 million products, and you can see the best sellers, and best sellers are actually lots of electronics devices. But how we can define, is it electronics or like what kind of products are main for this market? I would take the November data, because November is high season, so you can see then like then there are big sales, like what kind of categories are popular. So first category is actually beauty and health. Beauty and health category are very much divided into beauty and health, beauty and fragrance. And the fragrance category is actually the top category for this marketplace for Noon, in terms of, like this is, there are a lot of branded perfume which sold by, like less price than, I guess, in offline retail. So that's why it's like, I would say it's like not fair competition. So I wouldn't look at this category, maybe just in the beauty. Next category is mobile phones, and the next one then home and kitchen, and etc. So you actually can understand, like, let's say home and kitchen, what kind of size of the category, like for 1 month, how much sales and how much revenue it generates, what's the average bill. And what I like to do most is actually look deeper in the category. So for example, here they can see dining, kitchen and dining, kitchen and home appliance. So home appliance, it's include like all of the, like big brands. So I wouldn't look at this category right now. But of course, if you are a producer who's produce home appliances, definitely your category. Like, let's say kitchen and dining has lots of products, of course, and also it has average bill of 47 dirhams. What I would say for e-commerce is actually, and for marketplace, is pretty good number, because we know the products that sell in this category usually not that cost that much, and also we can see the sizable revenue pool. Average sales per merchant is 333 per month per one product. So let's dive into the products, like what kind of products are sold here. There is like lots of home appliance, lots of this is dining and kitchen. So like, let's say, for example, this wooden fill, it's sold for the last month for 29,000 dirhams, which is not bad with the price of 50 dirhams. So the main thing of this exercise, I would say, is just to find out if your product has a market. So if you are want to bring something from outside UAE, it's not necessary, could be the market, the first thing. It's sometimes happened. And the second thing, if you see there is a market, the second thing what you need to check is actually, is the market is belong to big brands. So here's all the brands, and what we can see, what I can see here is actually the split are quite healthy, because you can see kind of big brands for here, Pan Emirates and Royfold, but the market share is not higher than 16%. Danube Home, they have market share of 5%, and etc. So you can see here that market is pretty much okay. What my concern is that generic products, but what basically generic products is all of these products that Noon put in generic category. Generic category, if you don't have any kind of brand certificates inside the country, outside the country, you can provide. So they could put you in the generic. It's like this market share is not big, but again, need to look exactly in each product. For example, here you can see cockroach killer gel, right? The price of 58. The last month revenue 100,000 dirhams, which I think is quite good for that kind of product. You can see here there is actually for this product competition is for active stock is only two stores actively selling this. So I personally would say I would look into this product and maybe think how I can make it better. Is there any kind of, like improvement I can do? Like an improvement could be in different ways. Some of the improvement could be in terms of the price. Some of the improvements could be in terms of the actual quality of content, quality of product itself, etc. One more thing.
My laptop not connected to charge. Now I connect.
Okay. Another thing. Let's get to my presentation. So the total volume, it gives you the sense of what is the total market share for you. Then market share of big brands gives you assumption if you can be compete with those brands, and price level is very important thing. It's also connected to the unit economy. Because sometimes it happens then for some certain categories, big brands, they bring in like containers from, I guess, in China or like any other country. Anyway, they making their costs are very low for logistics. So basically they can get their product sell for like very low price. Sometimes it's even low than in other countries, because what we can see, they sell also in Russia, and for some products, like I would say, like, I don't know, trimmers, the prices are even lower, but it's not for everything. The second is actually required level on inventory is also a thing you need to consider, because sometimes marketplace can reduce your position if you don't have enough inventory on the warehouse. It doesn't happen, I guess, with Amazon, but with Noon, what we can see, sometimes it's happened. So it's also the thing to consider. And also it's also if the competitors, they have like always have stock, you don't have stock. So basically they're gonna win the competition either way. So this is important thing. Let me check. Sorry. Let's, I guess, look at this product, Roach Killer. What's special about this product? First, it's very small, right? Very, very small. There are also assumptions which need to consider is like what the size of the product. Is it like big? Because like if it's like the size too big is called, I guess, sizable weight, right? In logistics, like, or something like this.
Volumetric weight.
Yeah, volumetric. Yeah, volumetric weight. Then your logistics becomes very, very expensive, because weight is less than volume. The second thing is like, is the weight less or higher than 2 kilograms? Why so? Because sometimes then they choose the products higher than 2 kilograms also reflects on our logistics. I mean, delivery from here to from China to UAE.
Excuse me, no?
Sorry. Okay.
You can use in the outside.
Yes. And the second thing is actually the weight. Yes. So the weight, is it higher there or less than 2 kilograms? And also, for example, Amazon, they charge differently, up to kilograms and higher from 2 kilograms. Close competitors, the key metrics is price, number of reviews, number of sales. So how far they are in terms of dominating the niche, required inventory, and of course marketing strategy. But I guess it's kind of another story for another good webinar. So let's get back to unit economy, and I guess to Ryan, because here what we can see is like different. The structure of the unit economy is actually product cost, delivery cost to UAE, custom clearance, and many other costs. So could you please elaborate on all of these costs? Like what does it mean, what you need to do, and like where to ask how much that cost?
Sure, definitely. I mean, I'll try to focus more on the parts which we specialize in. But starting off with the product cost, obviously this is where procurement comes into play. So being able to source the product effectively and efficiently from reliable sources at lower costs in order to potentially reduce the product cost. Maybe the first option would not necessarily be the best option. In the case, a lot of people tend to go on Alibaba and whatnot to really find a good supplier for the product, but keeping in mind that everyone else is doing that, it might not always be the best solution. You could potentially find a local producer or a local supplier for the product, which will help you bring down the cost, because it will help you avoid the second cost over here, which is the delivery to the UAE cost. So once you, let's say, for example, source a producer or a supplier in China, then now the next step is to bring the products into the UAE. And the way you bring those products is by working with freight forwarders. And the freight forwarders will usually give you two options. They'll ask if you want it air or sea. Air being more expensive but quicker, and sea being slower yet significantly cheaper to bring the products in. Over here, it's worthwhile looking up the Incoterms to understand a bit more about at which point do you want the freight forwarder's job to finish. Do you want the freight forwarder to pick it up from the supplier, send it to the warehouse in Dubai? So that's a full door-to-door shipment. Or do you just want them to take it port to port, from the port, let's say in China, to the port in the UAE? And depending on what you require here, the cost will go up the more you require out of the freight forwarder. So if you can get your supplier, for example, to deliver the products to the port, and then your fulfillment center to pick up the products from the port, then you can potentially save by creating a port-to-port shipment rather than a door-to-door shipment. Once products have reached the port, this is where customs, the gatekeepers in the UAE, will look into the shipment, see if everything that is registered is registered. And if so, then there'll be some paperwork charges, but the most significant charge here would be a 5% VAT and a 5% custom duty, which you would have to pay on the cost of goods sold, meaning the cost of goods procured from the supplier, in order to clear them and allow these products to enter mainland. It's usually 5% custom duty and 5% VAT, but of course, there are a few product classes which have different customs and VAT categories like tobacco and alcohol and whatnot, but most of the time what we see is a 5% VAT and a 5% custom duty on most products. Once products are cleared through customs and you've paid that 10% cost, you've paid for the paperwork, then it's time to bring the products into your fulfillment center, from the port to the fulfillment center. The cost here will vary, could be something as small as 250 dirhams if you're just looking for a kind of 1-ton truck, but this could go up to 1,000 dirhams if you're looking at a 10-ton truck or a entire container load, for example, to be delivered from the port to the fulfillment center, and that's within one city. Once the products have reached the warehouse and have reached the fulfillment center, this is where you will potentially require value-added services. And what I mean by those value-added services is providing services such as storage, picking, packing, preparing those FBA orders, labeling them, and then you'll have different costs here. So for example, on warehousing, we usually see around 3 dirhams per cubic meter per day. On order preparation, you're talking about maybe around 4.5 dirhams per item if you require wrapping and labeling of the FNSKUs, of the Amazon FNSKUs on each item. So that's going to be around 4.5 dirham. And then you have local delivery to the FBA warehouse, which again is almost the same cost as delivery to the fulfillment center warehouse, depending on how much stock you're sending. So it could be something as low as 60 dirhams for a few boxes, but it could go up if you're sending a lot more to Amazon. Now, it's worthwhile noting here that Amazon will only allow you to send 300 units as a cap as part of your first shipment if you're new to the marketplace, because once they see your sales, only then will they increase your cap if you're performing quite well. Finally, we have the FBA fees. Daria, maybe you'd want to touch on the FBA fees. You're on mute.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, and actually what else I want to do is also show the unit economy table, so we can also go through that and
yeah,
better understand, you know, like what's going on, or what's what. So they choose here, pick up 2 products. One is like then kind of not Frida travel case. The price, you know, like in on Alibaba, so this is like just a few cents, not that high. And the second product is actually that affordable movable kitchen. And the reason why they choose those 2, because one is very light and one is actually very, very heavy. I mean, in terms of like it's less than 2 kilograms, but it's still, you know, like sizable, and it's more heavier. Yep. But we didn't like cross like more than 2 kilograms because, you know, like there could be different approach to deliver those products. We don't assume on, you know, like what price should be in terms of procurement and the delivery from China to UAE. Because it could be different, depends on like the factory, etc., the place of the factory. But we still assume that because of procurement price on Alibaba is going to be like, if you like, in first case it's less than $1, and in the second case is actually I guess a few dollars, but less than 10. So this still, oh, here's less than 10, but yes, it should be. We just assume the situation, then they have the product price per product, including delivery from China to UAE, and all the cost inside of China. So let's say when products reach the UAE, they now here getting the costs, right? So, and also we need to add here 10% of like duties and VAT. So the amount of product they choose 200, both in both cases. So purchase value for the delivery basically gonna be like here is they multiplying those, right? So that's how much budget they need to prepare for purchasing. Then they need to calculate their cost in terms of logistics here, right? So this number is weight per kilogram, right? This greenish is actually the bulk numbers. So here's the size, here's delivery size, like delivery volume. Here is the delivery weight, right? So the total bulk weight. And so for that weight of 300 kilogram, or almost 400 kilograms, the delivery to Amazon is going to be around 250, right? And
Yep.
in the first case is going to be around 65. Cost of SKUs, it's variable that you need to fix here. It's like how much cost the photo shoot, how much it costs infographics, you know, like A+ content, whatever. So it's like it's changeable. We assume it's like it's very cheap, but it could be any. Then
and the reason here why wrapping and delivery is more expensive is because we're talking about a bulkier product. So the layer foldable movable kitchen table or shelf rack, sorry, is significantly larger than the travel case. So it will require more material, it will require more effort from your fulfillment partner to fulfill this item compared to the travel case.
Yeah, and so here we add in all of this. They add in all of this fees, and they get the unit price cost of 29 and 58. Then they add in their fees, which is actually we can get from the Amazon, right? Or from Noon. Amazon has a very convenient calculator. Noon mostly has some tables, but also quite convenient.
And
so
the calculators in the link that's specified there. Okay.
Yeah. Specified right here. So here's like the referral fee for each sales. Here's like fees for fulfillment, right? We get it from the calculator, so we didn't really add some kind of table. And so basically cost, like they also add in the very important cost for loss on defective products, which is basically other it's quite low here, but yeah, we choose 5%. We assume that 5% of products going to be are defected, and they also get here, I guess, the monthly storage from maybe a redemption percentage. So that means that not all the products are actually being sold, but some of the products are being returned back. And they put here like it's pretty much high. And even after all of this, you know, like cost, they still can see durable revenue margin from like around 25 and 17%, which is not ideal. It could be way more better, but it's like very raw calculation just to understand if it's possible. Then you do it like very quick and very easy way. So I guess it's the fulfillment price is based on shortages, because we think the shortages has very good affordable services for companies, and all other prices basically are the assumption, including their purchase price, but you also can check it very easily using Alibaba. So I guess they gave a lot of information on unit economy and also structure of the cost when you are trying to estimate something. I would love to hear your questions, because it could be very, 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 very interesting. And I guess they have a few questions already, right? So first question is like, do we need to get a specific e-commerce license if you already have another license? For example, we have paint and frames trading license from DED.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, what you can do is potentially extend an activity to include other products. I know with the Dubai DED, you can actually add more activities so that you can cover more products than just paints and frames. But if you're planning to sell only paints and frames, then that should be fine. But what is important here again is getting that importer code. And if you have a trading company within the DED, Dubai DED, regardless of whether it's paints and frames or general or non-food or food, you would be able to get an importer code, which will allow you to import different products into the country.
And could you provide importer code, for example, for first shipment or like for as a service?
So at Shortages, we provide it to customers that are already registered abroad and have some type of track record abroad, because it's quite risky to provide the importer code. So it's not something we can avail to everyone, but rather to registered companies abroad that have a good track record of sales.
Got it. Okay, great. Another question is, do I need to pay VAT, custom duty, and 5% of the CIF, then bring in the product to the UAE?
Yeah, so as mentioned before, 5% customs and 5% VAT would apply on the value of the goods that are being imported, based on the invoice that you bought them from the supplier at, not on the selling price. And yes, if you are registered, because there is a follow-up here, what happens if you're registered with the RN or the tax registration? If you are tax registered or VAT tax registered with the UAE, then you can reclaim the 5% VAT paid during import once you file for the 5% VAT that you have charged customers that have bought your product. So there is a kind of reclaim process here, which you can benefit from. However, if you're importing on someone else's license, or you're using an importer on record service, then you will not be able to reclaim that 5% VAT. Or if you're not VAT registered as well, then you won't be able to reclaim that 5% VAT.
Okay, got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
They're very interesting.
So we always recommend, if you're going to have a lot of sales, register for VAT as soon as possible, import the products under your name and try to reclaim that VAT, because it will affect your economics, your unit economics, basically.
Yeah, that's for sure. They're very interesting. Okay, and it's like you're saying, the custom duty paid on like depends on invoice you provide. Is it the cases then sellers actually provide lower invoice from their, like, for example, Chinese factory to pay less tax? How does it work here?
I couldn't advise on that because it would be illegal. I wouldn't recommend it either because, you know, customs in the UAE are quite advanced. They do have good systems in place which allow them to identify what is actually the fair value of a product. And I would say there is a possibility they would know if you're underreporting the customs value of products. So I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, great. That's good. Interesting. So is anyone has any more questions? While people thinking about the questions, could you please tell us more about like what kind of services in all of this, you know, like I would say supply chain shortages can provide?
Sure, let me share my screen real quick and maybe walk people through the services that we provide. So initially, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? We're looking for customers who are looking to start and scale their e-commerce operation in the GCC. A lot of sellers here on the call probably are suffering from expensive international fulfillment because cross-border is quite expensive. If you're fulfilling from your HQ abroad, then you probably have customers complaining over long times to deliver and expensive shipping costs. Finally, fulfillment centers are expensive to set up and operate on your own, and the traditional logistics companies in the market are overcharging for the service. So this is where shortages comes in to help with the import and registration process of your products, storing and keeping track of your products, picking and packing them for delivery, and finally fulfilling those orders directly to the customer so that you as an online seller focus on product innovation, website marketing, branding, online sales, and customer satisfaction. So what this eventually leads to is the ability for you to enter the GCC or the Middle East in a very low cost yet quick approach through shortages as a fulfillment center. And the way we do that is by providing 4 key services. First of all, which is air and sea freight. So we work with freight forwarders to bring your products from the supplier into the country. We do provide, as I mentioned, importer on record or merchant on record, as well as product registration services. If you have a track record and you registered abroad. Finally, our core service is the warehousing, fulfillment, and delivery side, which you know we've spoken at lengths about. And the way this will help is, first of all, it will save you time and money because you're not going around setting up warehouses yourselves. Instead, you're plugging into our existing infrastructure, which we have already put in the investment for. And it will automate your orders. Our team is quite proficient at Amazon requirements, Noon requirements. So we know exactly what it takes to really automate the delivery of those orders. Another benefit is that you keep your brand. So we don't put any of our own branding on the packages. We make sure that whatever leaves the warehouse leaves under your brand. And most importantly, we help you unlock new markets and new geographies because not only do we cater to the UAE, but we also cater to a lot of the GCC countries.
Great. Meanwhile, we've got more questions. So there are a question from Max. So he's selling frames, but they're not physical frames for display, but they're physical frames for displaying digital art. So basically, it's fallen into electronic category. Once they get import number should be fine starting an import with the existing license?
Yeah, I mean, once you get an import code, I don't suppose there's a reason why customs would stop them in this case. But again, I'm not a lawyer, so these niche scenarios I don't have a lot of experience with, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have an issue there, Max.
Great. Then question from Eder. It is necessary to have minimum billing threshold to be authorized and or required to collect the VAT from customers, and if applicable, remit it to the tax agency?
Yeah, I mean, over here there is a minimum either expense or revenue requirement of around 180,000 for a voluntary VAT registration, 180,000 dirhams. So once you've either bought supplies or invoiced people for 180,000 dirhams, then you can volunteer to apply. But there is a required threshold. Again, I'm not a tax lawyer advisor, but I think it's around 360,000 dirhams, somewhere around that mark, where once you do reach that figure, it's mandatory for you to collect VAT and to report back to the agency.
Mm-hmm. Also, does shortages make custom packages based on our packages design?
Shortages can use custom packaging, but you would have to approach basically packaging companies for the creation of those custom packaging. Shortages does not print out packaging, basically.
Great. And one more question is like, do you import products from the European Union? Basically means, does your clients import those products from Europe?
Yeah, we do have some clients that import products from the EU. We don't provide it ourselves as part of the air and sea freight service that we provide. That's more Turkey, China, India, rather than from the EU. We don't have any experience there, but we do have clients that do import from the EU.
Okay, great. I guess today the VAT and license questions are dominated.
They always are. People are always curious about how to be legally set up, and maybe that's another useful session as well.
Yeah. Wherever business you are, start with, license. The most important thing.
I'm in the wrong business, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Still the same. Great. Okay, so let me tell you more about the promo codes that we prepared for those who are interested into look into the competitors' numbers. Okay. So what you can what you can see that we provide 5 days promo code for Sellscreen. Why 5 days? I think we the only company who has access to Noon data, and in the market nobody else get the data. Most of the services are very Amazon centric, and also we are working with quite big clients, and they verify data very intensively. So we usually provide good quality data which can be reliable. So their promo code is shortages 30. Why it's 30? Because the ELSA provide the discount for that, and discount is 30%. for each month. So the subscription, you get a limited number of products. You can supervise. You can also see the products for all the period we get the data from the for these products. You can analyze products. You can see the categories. You can understand how much your certain store or brand generated during selected time. You also can export to Excel lots of information, and they also have search queries for Noon, which means you can see what actually people wanna see as a product on the marketplace. And yeah, if you already have cards, I also suggest product cards on the Noon. I also suggest you to check it out, because the on daily basis get information about 100,000 keywords. So it could be interesting to see maybe that you're gonna get some idea for SEO optimizations based on your competitors' products. If you don't have any more questions,
I think there is one last question from Max on VAT. If you've already placed an order from the factory and it surpasses the minimum threshold, then you can begin your application process for VAT, because they will just require the invoice, even if it hasn't arrived yet. The fact that you do have an invoice that's been paid for that initial order from the factory, then you can begin your application process for VAT.
Great. Yeah, so after that you will be eligible to reclaim VAT, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Great. Thank you, Daria, for hosting me, and thank you everyone for listening in on this talk.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we should have a great day. We will send you the record of this webinar and also promo code. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a great day.